Hello everyone, with you as always TimFilm, and in this video we're going to take apart the movie Inside Out. It's a very interesting movie and it really impressed me, so enjoy the movie and here we go. Understanding art Western culture has a long history of emotional fear, by which I mean fear of emotion. Thinkers from classical to modern times have pitted emotion against reason as opposing forces vying for control of the mind. An emotional person was seen as weak, yielding to the path of least resistance to base desires ruled by capricious feelings. Yoda: fear is the way to the dark side. The strong, on the other hand, would control their emotions with reason. Everyone feels pressure. The point is, don't let it show. Disney personified this struggle in a short 8-minute 1933 cartoon called, aptly, Reason and Emotion. In the mind of each of us, these two wage a ceaseless battle for mastery. The short is a thinly disguised piece of propaganda designed to harden Americans against the scare tactics used by the Axis powers in World War II. But it was nonetheless a point of reference for the Pixar team, led by director Pete Docter, responsible for the film Inside Out. Docter's film is a far more nuanced take on the inner workings of the mind, appropriate for a post-40s, post-cultural evolution age in which we're encouraged, at least ostensibly, to embrace emotions rather than urged to master them. The film tells the story of 11-year-old Riley as she navigates a cross-country move and, more centrally, how 5 emotions – joy, leadership, sadness, fear, disgust, and anger – balance the control of her mind from a mission control-like headquarters. In this model, each day consists of discrete moments. Rarely, an experience is so formative that it creates a core memory that forms the basis of Riley's personality, which is imagined as theme park islands. When joy and sadness are accidentally ejected from headquarters, the film chronicles their cathartic journey through several other mental regions, including Imagination Land, a dream production company that looks like the Paramount Lab, abstract thought, and a subconscious prison. The catharsis comes when joy realizes that sadness is not only useful but essential, perhaps even more essential than she is, to Riley's harmonious mental functioning and overall happiness. The movie itself and its message of embracing sadness, of feeling what needs to be felt, is certainly a sign of progress against our long-standing emotional fears. But is this model of the mind and its emotions an accurate one? Inside Out bases much of its theory of emotions on the work of Paul Ekman. An influential researcher in the psychology of emotions, Ekman theorizes that there are 7 basic emotions with universal facial signals, the ones shown in the film, plus 2 that were cut, surprise and contempt. These basic emotions are ubiquitous, all over the world, Ekman says, and can be read on anyone's face, whether by an astute listener or by facial recognition software, such as the controversial ones Ekman has helped develop for security and marketing purposes. Ekman and other consultants on the film have praised Inside Out for providing a model for children that is both engaging and scientifically sound. But while Ekman's model may be the dominant one in the psychology of emotion right now, it's by no means the only one. In fact, the field is far more fractious than the movie's scientific advisors let on. Inside Out seems to suggest that a child's experiences are defined by whichever emotion is at the helm. What's more, this overall personality, determined by colored core memories, has an emotional. Okay, hold on. Did you remember to subscribe to the channel? Oh, yeah, and like it, and now we can move on. Driver. This model runs counter to key findings of psychoanalysis, for example, which holds that emotions can be transferred, transformed, or distorted expressions of unconscious ideas and repressed experiences. In other words, feelings of sadness, joy, or fear are often far removed from their causes. Understanding them as specific entities is problematic because they are often not what they appear to be. That is, understanding emotions as drivers rather than expressions of ideas and experiences may ignore underlying causes. Indeed, the idea that emotions or memories can be separated or discrete in any way is a dubious one. The movie itself begins to question this at the end, when the control panel at headquarters is expanded to accommodate all emotions, and the memory orbs begin to reflect mixed experiences. But the sense that experience can be quantified pervades the movie, and, as with anything, that may be more a reflection of our culture at the moment than of the science itself. For joy and sadness, the scariest place in the film isn't the subconscious prison that houses Riley's worst fears, but a giant pit in the center of Riley's mind where memories are forgotten forever with no hope of being retrieved. In an increasingly data-driven culture, where more data equals more truth, the greatest fear of all is the loss of information. And the headquarters of Riley's mind, with its control panel and instruction manuals, feels a bit managerial and Riley a bit like an automaton, controlled by a highly sophisticated technocratic operation. The decision-making process is also a bit shaky, since the latest neuroscience tells us that the frontal lobe performs a kind of executive function, mediating between emotions in the limbic system and higher cognitive functions like reflection and critical thinking, apparently not always in favor of the latter. Maybe you're saying the same thing as the voice in my head. It's a kid's movie, it's a comedy. And that's very true. And the director, Pete Docter, never intended this movie to be an academic or therapeutic tool. He acknowledges the need for poetic and comedic license. For example, adding an executive function like the one I just mentioned would undoubtedly make the movie too complex, as would any number of other things, like the two basic emotions he left out, or any other emotion. I don't think his dramatic instincts can be questioned here. Under the premises of the emotional model that Inside Out presents, the narrative unfolds with grace, subtlety, and intense poignancy. I'll leave the formal criticism to someone else, but there's no doubt that this is masterful filmmaking. I had the tears to prove it, but it does raise questions about the impact of popular models of the mind. Pixar tells stories so mythic and archetypal, and so well that it's almost impossible not to internalize some of their elements, especially for children. If the result is that kids learn earlier and better why it's important to accept and expect sadness, then I think that's unquestionably a good thing. But sadness and joy and fear and disgust and anger are not discrete things or self-contained or even entirely internal. Neither are personality traits or, for that matter, personalities. Any model of emotion will reflect a split between biology and culture, between neuroscience and theoretical psychoanalysis. Don't let anyone tell you that this debate is settled one way or the other. There are as many emotional theories as there are emotional psychologists. What's interesting and ironic about Inside Out is that Riley may come off as a bit robotic, but a more complex and complete framework for the inner workings of the mind can be found in Joy herself, a character who questions and reflects, who turns inward, not to another smaller headquarters, but to a cauldron of indistinct compounds of feeling, influenced by chemistry, situation, and other people. Inside Out may not be perfectly accurate, but the movie inspires something more important, something that doesn't require scientific exactitude. Emotional intelligence. It's a sunny day out right now. Hey everyone, thanks for watching. I love Pixar in general, but I love this movie because there is so much to dig into and explore, and I had a lot of fun making this and putting it together. Thanks for watching this episode to the end. Leave your thoughts on the movie in the comments, and see you in the next video.